I'm certain it shall extend beyond that.
Okay, sure. Let's go ahead.
All right. Sweta, let me know when we are live.
Just give me 1 minute.
If there is some more light, sir, you can ask them to put a little more light. Namaskar and good evening. Welcome to Bureaucrats India Dialogue Series. I'm Dr. Navneet Anand. Bureaucrats India Dialogue Series is an initiative of Bureaucrats India, India's only news portal, which captures stories of good governance, best corporate and CSR practices, apart from highlighting the excellence of our public sector undertakings. To get a feel of great stories of wonderful things that our bureaucrats across the country are doing and the best practices of good governance, I request you all to log into our website, www.bureaucratsindia.in. Today we have with us an illustrious, very well-known, multifaceted IPS officer, Shri Gyanendra Pratap Singh, who will share with us his thoughts on war against drugs. Assam leads the way. I request my colleague, Vigya Dwivedi, to please introduce Shri Gyanendra Pratap Singh, better known, popularly known as GP Singh.
Shri Gyanendra Pratap Singh is an IPS officer of 1991 batch of Assam cadre. He has been at the forefront of the battle against terrorism perpetrated by organizations like Alpha and NDSB. For strong actions taken by him against terrorist organizations, he has been aptly given the moniker of Gunpoint Singh in Assam. He has served in the elite SPG, being chief of the close protection units that provided protection to the Prime Ministers Sri Atal Bihari Vajpayee ji and Dr. Manmohan Singh ji. He has also been in charge of investigation into cases of terrorism, terror finance in the Kashmir Valley, Punjab and Northeast during his stint with NIA. These investigations broke a lot of ground in favor of subsequent government efforts in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Shri Singh was also instrumental in breaking the bogey of so-called saffron terror during intensive investigation and supervision of the sensitive cases like Samjhauta Express blast, Malegaon blast, Ajmer Sharif and Mecca Masjid blast cases during his stint in NIA. He is generally known to be the policeman with a strong mind and a strong field presence. When Shri Himanta Biswa Sarma took over as the Chief Minister of Assam in May 2021, it was Shri GP Singh on whom the mantle has fallen to execute the Assam government policy of zero tolerance against drug trafficking through Assam and ensuring that drug transit and availability become next to nil in the state. A highly decorated officer, Shri Singh has been awarded Police Medal for Meritorious Service and President's Medal for Distinguished Services, CM's Medal for Outstanding Service and CM's Medal for Special Services, DGP's Gold and Silver medals in addition to various other decorations. Having worked against terrorist organizations in almost all theaters of the country, Shri Singh attacks a lot of personal threat necessitating Z category of security provided to him by Ministry of Home Affairs, Government of India. However, this has not deterred him from taking on terrorist groups and now waging a war against organized drug cartels and syndicates operating in the Northeast India.
Thank you, Vigya. Thank you so much. And welcome again, sir. It's been a privilege and an honor knowing you personally all these years and having closely watched you excel in everything that you do. What a great honor for Bureaucrats India to host you today, this evening. I know it's a hectic days, but you managed to. Today also is incidentally is the 100 days of the new government of Assam, and compliments to you for having achieved a remarkable success in this short span of time. We shall begin our conversation, sir. Assam against drugs is a very popular hashtag today. Ever since May 10, when Honorable Chief Minister Sri Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma took over, there has been a concerted war against drug menace. Kindly let us know about how the overview, give us an overview of this campaign, sir.
Thanks, Navneet. First of all, I would like to thank you for very, very kind words spoken. And it has really been an honor being part of the Indian Police Service for last 3 decades. It has been an enlightening experience for myself because it offered me so much opportunity to serve the people. And today in this discussion, since we would be restricting ourselves generally about drugs, I would say that this again has been an opportunity which has been provided by the service that I joined 3 decades back. It was in 2019, December, at the height of CA agitation when I was brought from Delhi where I was posted as IG in NIA. And initial few days were very hectic days sorting out the problem relating to the agitation. The entire state was burning. But say in about 3-4 days, we were able to substantially reduce the problems of rioting and distress that was in the society. And after that, we sat down with the team and focused on our core areas of policing. One of the things that immediately caught the mind of the top leadership of Assam Police was the menace of drugs that is in the entire Northeast, with a specific reference to Assam, which was being used as a transit route, as well as over the period of few years, it had become a consumption center. So that was one of the focus areas that we had. And then we started asking our officers, trying to collect the information and subsequently asking them to take action. A lot of action was taken, but as you are all aware, early part of 2020, we had major lockdowns because of COVID. And subsequently, we walked into the elections. Elections happened this year in March, April. So our attention, though the drugs were always there at the back of our mind, but somehow we didn't get the opportunity and the time to really go after drugs in a big way. So when the new government took over, the first meeting that Honorable Chief Minister had with the top leadership of police department, as well as most of the home department officials, he asked us what are the areas where we need to really work on. So this was one of the areas which was highlighted to the Honorable Chief Minister. And he, at that time in the first meeting itself, said that drugs, then another area of priority was rhino poaching, then human trafficking, terrorism. As you are all aware, Assam has a problem of terrorism. So he gave us these 5-6 areas, which he said were zero tolerance areas as far as his government was concerned. So that gave us an idea that Honorable Chief Minister is also interested and he has a focus on this particular thing. And we started working on it from day one. And that's how the journey began. It has been about 100 days. Today is the 100th day of the present government. We have had fairly good success, though it is not very, very proper to commercialize the drug seizures and all that. But still, there are indicators available, what is the street price of the drugs and what is the price in major cities of the country and internationally. The general approximation that we have done along with sister federal agencies is that the drugs seized in Assam during the last 100 days have touched almost 200 crores in terms of their street value, which is a fairly big achievement as far as drug seizures are concerned. And this is just the beginning. We have a long way to go, and we intend going the entire, we intend traveling the entire distance.
Thank you, sir. Help us to understand, sir, if this has also to do, this war against drug has also to do with our determination or the government determination to save the youth of Assam from the shackles of drugs.
So Navneet, as I initially said, the assessment that we have as police officers in the state is that where we were, say, 5 years, 10 years back, we have traveled a long way. The number of seizures, the number of incidents connected to drugs has increased substantially. Another thing which was very interesting, which again has some background, was that when immediately in the aftermath of killing of Burhan Wani in Kashmir, there was a lot of public unrest. At that time, I was in NIA, and we had visited Kashmir quite a bit at that time. A number of cases were subsequently taken up against the secessionist leaders and others. And we also tried to understand the unrest that was going on in Kashmir. And one thing that we realized at that time was that the incidence of drug abuse amongst the youngsters who were participating in the riots was very high. Now, juxtapose it with the situation where I landed here on 12th of December 2019. We were faced with the statewide riots. And then we started asking our officers how and why these guys are coming onto the ground, onto the streets. And then many of our officers said that, sir, those who have been picked up, many of them have been found to be abusing either drugs or under the influence of liquor when they were indulging in righteous behavior. So that gave us an indicator that there is a large chunk of youngsters who are actually indulging in public disorder or criminal activities under the influence of drugs. So that is where we decided that this has to be done. The influence of drugs on the youngsters has risen substantially. It needs to be tackled. It needs to be tackled with a very, very firm hand. And it has to be a multi-pronged strategy. One is that we have to reduce the supply. As they say, it is supply reduction. Then we have to ensure that demand is reduced. So demand reduction. And third, which is a social welfare measure, is the harm reduction. By that, I mean that rehabilitation centers, the youngsters have to be taken to rehab centers, the families have to be counseled. And instead of being punitive for these youngsters who are the drug addicts or who are abusing the drugs, being rehabilitative in our approach. So this three-pronged strategy of demand reduction, supply reduction, and harm reduction is the way that we intend going. As far as those who are indulging in drug trafficking, we have been absolutely toothless. Wherever they have tried to evade arrests, wherever they have tried to run away from lawful custody, we have used lawfully mandated force, and action has been taken, including lethal force. So this is something that we intend continuing till we reach that point that the supply is minimized and demand also comes down substantially. If we can, if the youngsters know that they won't get it, then the likelihood of people getting into it is much lower. Let's see how much we can do, but I am quite sure that we would be achieving almost 100% success over the period of next few years.
Thank you for that, sir. It's been actually very fascinating and to read your traps and the kind of seizures which are being made. And the police seem to have truly intensified efforts, as you're saying. Has there been a shift in strategy vis-a-vis the intelligence laying the trap, as well as enhancing the network of informers? Or is it the same old methods that is being used? Whatever you can share in the public domain.
One very interesting thing that I have to tell you from my experience again of 3 decades is that police is a wonderful organization. Our police officers, if you give them the targets, if you give them that this is the way ahead, then they really work wonders. So when this was decided that we would be taking action, and generally the directions from the top, from political leadership as well as from the police leadership, was that we have to go with a very, very strong approach against drugs. So we realized that our police officers across the state have had enormous information. We pumped in resources, additional money was provided, additional incentives were provided, and we reactivated the channels that had virtually gone into disuse over the period of time, because most of the police force was busy in elections, law and order, and this and that. So we reactivated those channels, and they worked wonders. Another very, very interesting aspect or facet of this war has been that we realized, the top leadership of Assam Police realized that there's huge money involved. And we realized that some of our guys, yes, they are black sheep. But then it also brought to fore a lot of people who were shining angels. I often recollect incident in which there was a trap team which was at the border of Nagaland and Assam, and there was one home guard who first went into a bus, and he was offered a substantial amount of money by the bus driver, almost a lakh of rupees. And this is a home guard who generally gets about 9,000-10,000 rupees of salary per month. He refused. That day we made a seizure of, if I remember correctly, 2 to 3 kgs of meth, which is a couple of crores in international market. Now that is the kind of dedication, that is the kind of service that some of the police officers have displayed. As recognition of his service, our Chief Minister decided to induct him into regular Assam Police as a constable. This year, he has been given the Chief Minister's Medal for Outstanding Service. And that has sent a message across the entire Assam Police that wherever you are going in for outstanding work, you shall be rewarded. So, age-old methods of collecting intelligence, pumping in a lot of money into collecting information, using technical inputs. And one of the most interesting thing about this entire thing is that the federal government has really supported us very well. All the agencies of government of India have opened up their gates to us, saying that whatever input you want, whatever technical assistance you want, please take it. In fact, all the senior officers are dropping in here from various central agencies. I deem it inappropriate to name the agencies, but especially I can name Narcotics Control Bureau because they are directly connected with it. They have been sending senior officers. Then the intelligence agencies have been cooperating with us. They have been giving us a lot of information. And that has all together, it has led to where we are today. And I think that the results that we have obtained in 100 days, I would count them as outstanding, if not amazing.
Absolutely outstanding, sir. And how can I not compliment you for this morning's trap, a smart trap at Dudhnoi, which led to, again, a big seizure in Gwalpara. सर, जैसा कि आप जानते हैं, हमारा माध्यम ऐसा है कि बहुत सारे मुझे रिक्वेस्ट आ रहे हैं कि आप थोड़ा सा हिंदी में भी हम लोग बातचीत करें, और मैं अब अपने मित्र राजीव रंजन रॉय, जो ब्यूरोक्रेट्स इंडिया के एडिटर हैं, उनसे रिक्वेस्ट करूंगा कि अगले कुछ सवाल आप राजीव जी सर से करें, और ये सर हमारा प्रसारण हमारे फेसबुक पेज और ट्विटर हैंडल्स के द्वारा बाकी और बहुत लोगों तक पहुंच रहा है। आप सब जुड़े रहें ब्यूरोक्रेट्स इंडिया पे। आपका बहुत स्वागत है। जैसा कि आप माननीय श्री जीपी सिंह साहब, एन इलस्ट्रियस आईपीएस ऑफिसर, he has taken out time to talk in the past. Rajiv ji, over to you, please.
थैंक यू, धन्यवाद नवनीत जी। सर, ऐसा देखा गया है कि ओवर द इयर्स गुवाहाटी जो है वो एक प्राइम ट्रांजिट पॉइंट बन गया है ड्रग स्मगलिंग के लिए। और म्यांमार से जो ड्रग्स आता है वो मणिपुर मिजोरम के बॉर्डर होते हुए जो फिर इंडिया में एंटर करता है, उस बीच में जो एक नेक्सस काम करता है उसके बारे में कहा जाता है कि वो उतना मजबूत है, उसकी स्पाइन को ब्रेक करना बहुत डिफिकल्ट है। सर, ये परसेप्शन है या इट्स रियली सो?
आपने जो बताया है इससे मैं किसी भी तरह से डिसएग्री नहीं कर सकता, पर मेरा इसमें मानना ये है कि मुश्किल भले हो लेकिन नामुमकिन नहीं है। और मैं आपको एश्योरेंस देता हूँ 100% सक्सेस नहीं भी मिलेगी तो हम 75-80%, 70-75-80% सफलता की ओर अग्रसर हैं और हम इसको जरूर अचीव कर रहेंगे। जहां तक आपने ये रास्ता बताया, इसमें क्या है कि अगर आप इसको ओरिजिन पे जाते हैं तो ये जो गोल्डन ट्रायंगल है, ये गोल्डन ट्रायंगल है लाओस, थाईलैंड और म्यांमार का। ये इन तीनों का जो उत्तरी भाग है, इस उत्तरी भाग में पिछले लगभग 100 साल से ओपियम कल्टीवेशन होता था। ओपियम कल्टीवेशन के द्वारा ये लोग वहां पर हेरोइन बनाते थे और उस हेरोइन को मार्केट में भेजने के दो रास्ते थे। एक रास्ता था कि नॉर्थ ईस्ट के थ्रू मेनलैंड इंडिया में पहुंचाना, और एक साउथ ईस्ट एशिया के थ्रू ये यूरोप में और नॉर्थ अमेरिका में जाता है। तीसरा एक रास्ता जिसको अक्सर ये लोग यूज करते हैं वो ये है कि उत्तर की तरफ जाकर ये अपने बनाए हुए ड्रग्स को चाइना में भेजते हैं। तो जो चाइना में जाने वाला है या जो साउथ ईस्ट एशिया के थ्रू वेस्टर्न यूरोप या नॉर्थ अमेरिका में जाता है, उसके विषय में हम अभी चर्चा नहीं करेंगे। हम सिर्फ चर्चा करेंगे जो नॉर्थ ईस्ट के थ्रू मेनलैंड में जाता है। नॉर्थ ईस्ट आता है, नॉर्थ ईस्ट से मेनलैंड जाता है। तो वहां पे ये जो प्रोडक्शन होता है ओपियम का, उस ओपियम के प्रोडक्शन से ओपियम बनाते हैं। ओपियम को प्योरीफाई करके उससे हेरोइन बनाते हैं और उस हेरोइन को अलग अलग शुद्धता के प्रतिशत के अनुसार ये लोग नॉर्थ ईस्ट होते हुए मेनलैंड इंडिया में भेजते हैं। इसके मेनली दो रास्ते हैं। एक रास्ता तो ये है कि ये म्यांमार से चम्फाई होते हुए मिजोरम आता है, मिजोरम से ये आसाम आता है लैलापुर होके। इसका एक कनेक्टेड एक और रूट है, वो ये है कि म्यांमार से ये चम्फाई होके मिजोरम घुसता है, मिजोरम से घुस के ये हाईवे नेशनल हाईवे 306 लेके चूड़ाचांदपुर पहुंचता है। चूड़ाचांदपुर से फिर ये दीमापुर होके कार्बी आंगलोंग जिले में होते हुए आसाम में गुवाहाटी आता है। तीसरा जो रास्ता है वो है नागालैंड के थ्रू, मणिपुर के थ्रू। मणिपुर में मोरे बॉर्डर है, मोरे बॉर्डर से ये अंदर आता है म्यांमार से, मोरे बॉर्डर से इम्फाल, इम्फाल से दीमापुर और दीमापुर से फिर गुवाहाटी होते हुए मेनलैंड जाता है। आज से कुछ सालों पहले तक ये जो पूरा ट्रैफिक था ड्रग्स का, ये लगभग 98-99% जो म्यांमार से चलता था मेनलैंड इंडिया जाता था। मेनलैंड इंडिया में वेस्टर्न इंडिया, सदर्न इंडिया, नदर्न इंडिया, ये इसके मेन डेस्टिनेशन थे। लेकिन पिछले 10 सालों में जो देखा गया है, इसका जो कंजम्पशन है वो भी नॉर्थ ईस्ट में बढ़ने लगा है, चाहे वो मणिपुर हो, चाहे नागालैंड हो, चाहे मिजोरम हो, चाहे आसाम हो। और अब लगभग 25-30% इसका कंजम्पशन नॉर्थ ईस्ट में होता है और 60 से 70% ये मेनलैंड इंडिया में जाता है। आपने जिन शहरों के नाम बताए वो शहर क्योंकि बड़े शहर हैं और इस रूट में पड़ते हैं, जैसे इम्फाल है, दीमापुर है, गुवाहाटी है, क्योंकि ये बड़े शहर हैं और इसमें अर्बन पॉपुलेशन है, तो यहाँ पे कंजम्पशन भी होता है और यहाँ पे इनके ट्रांजिट पॉइंट्स भी हैं। जैसे वो म्यांमार से लेके चलेंगे तो चंफाई बॉर्डर पे, चंफाई बॉर्डर से वो लैलापुर पे लाएंगे, लैलापुर से फिर वो मेघालय होते हुए गुवाहाटी ले आएंगे। गुवाहाटी से फिर वो कुरियर बदल जाएगा, बदल के वो दूसरे कुरियर को दे देगा या गाड़ी बदल जाएगी जो लेके जाएगी। इसके अलावा अब चूंकि रेल का भी एक माध्यम अवेलेबल है, तो रेल से भी ये बराक वैली के, आसाम के बराक वैली से रेल के माध्यम से दीमापुर होते हुए, लमडिंग होते हुए गुवाहाटी, और गुवाहाटी से फिर आगे चले जाते हैं। ये आपकी जो इंफॉर्मेशन है ये करेक्ट है, और हम इसी पर काम करते हुए गुवाहाटी में हमारे पिछले 100 दिन में लगभग 7 से 8 बड़े सीजर्स हुए हैं, जिसमें 2, 3, 4 केजी तक हेरोइन पकड़ी गई है। तो ये इन्फॉर्मेशन आपकी एकदम सही है, लेकिन हम भी मुश्किल मानते हैं इसको, लेकिन नामुमकिन नहीं है, और मेरा एश्योरेंस है कि इस पे आसाम पुलिस कड़ाई से नकेल कसेगी।
बिल्कुल सर, जिस कमिटमेंट के साथ असम पुलिस काम कर रही है, हम लोगों को भी ऐसा लगता है सर कि सफलता जरूर मिलेगी। अभी सर पिछले विधानसभा में ऑनरेबल चीफ मिनिस्टर ने एक बहुत ही बड़ा स्टेटमेंट दिया था। उन्होंने ये आशंका व्यक्त किया था कि जिस प्रकार से यूथ, जिस प्रकार से लोग ड्रग कंज्यूम कर रहे हैं आसाम में, वह दिन दूर नहीं है जब आसाम उड़ता आसाम बन जाएगा। मुझे लगता है कि बहुत ही स्ट्रॉन्ग स्टेटमेंट ऑनरेबल चीफ मिनिस्टर ने दिया, और जो आप बता रहे हैं तो कहीं ना कहीं मैं देखता हूं कि दोनों के बीच में एक रिलेशनशिप रियलिटीज से भी ये ज्यादा दूर नहीं है। तो सर क्या हमेशा ये डर जो है ये क्या हकीकत में बदल जाएगा कि एक उड़ता पंजाब के बाद एक उड़ता आसाम भी बन रहा है, या फिर उसको आप बिल्कुल रोकेंगे?
जैसा मैंने आपको बोला कि हम कमिटेड हैं, और हमारा ये आसाम के प्रति, देश के प्रति, और आसाम और देश के युवाओं के प्रति हमारा ये कमिटमेंट है कि हम आसाम को प्रगति की राह पर तो उड़ने देंगे, किंतु ड्रग्स के मार्ग पे उड़ने नहीं देंगे। ये हमारा आसाम पुलिस का फर्म कमिटमेंट है।
That's great, really wonderful, sir. सर एक ये जो असम पुलिस जो काम कर रही है ये लोगों के लिए है, और ऐसा कहा जाता है when we do talk about police administration, जब हम सिविल एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन की बात करते हैं तो जो भी हम ग्रैंड ऑब्जेक्टिव्स सेट करते हैं उसके बारे में एक्सपर्ट्स व्यू वो रहता है कि जब तक आप लोगों को इन्वॉल्व नहीं करेंगे, जिसकी भलाई के लिए आप काम करना चाहते हैं, तो तब तक वो ऑब्जेक्टिव्स आप अचीव नहीं कर सकते, चाहे आप कितना ही मेहनत क्यों ना करें। तो सर आपका ये जो वार अगेंस्ट ड्रग है, हाउ aligned it is, sir, to the idea to give some relief to the people of Assam, sir?
इसमें आपके प्रश्न में ही उत्तर निहित है कि आसाम पुलिस की जो भी सक्सेस है, उस सक्सेस का श्रेय ज्यादातर आसाम की जनता को है, क्योंकि जो भी इंफॉर्मेशन आ रही है वो जनता से और समाज से ही आ रही है। हमारे यहाँ एक रेगुलर सारे डिस्ट्रिक्ट्स में पुलिस कंट्रोल रूम में हेल्पलाइन है, नंबर्स हमने दिए हुए हैं जहाँ पे कोई भी इंफॉर्मेशन दे सकता है, व्हाट्सएप नंबर्स दिए हुए हैं जहाँ इंफॉर्मेशन आ सकती है, फेसबुक पेज है, ईमेल है, ट्विटर है। इनफैक्ट हमारा भी अपना ट्विटर है, उस ट्विटर पे बहुत इंफॉर्मेशन आती है, और बहुत ज़्यादा सक्सेस हमको जो मिली है वो पब्लिक से आई हुई इंफॉर्मेशन के बेसिस पे मिली है। ये पेड सोर्सेज नहीं है, ये वो पब्लिक है जो कि इस समस्या से त्रस्त है और इस समस्या का समाधान चाहती है। ये तो रहा इंफॉर्मेशन नेटवर्क। इसके अलावा जो कंजम्पशन पैटर्न है, उस कंजम्पशन पैटर्न पे जब हम लोगों ने जिसको मैं कहूँगा टीम आसाम ने जब इस पे कंसंट्रेट किया, जो सोशल वेलफेयर डिपार्टमेंट है, एजुकेशन डिपार्टमेंट है, हेल्थ डिपार्टमेंट है, पुलिस के साथ डिस्ट्रिक्ट एडमिनिस्ट्रेशन है, तो हमने ये रियलाइज किया कि इसमें जब हम पेरेंट्स को मिला लेते हैं, सोसाइटी के लीडर्स को मिला लेते हैं, तो वो चाहते हैं कि उनके बच्चे ड्रग्स के चंगुल से बाहर रहें। तो उन्होंने भी बहुत इंफॉर्मेशन देनी शुरू की, तो उस हिसाब से भी पब्लिक हमारे साथ जुड़ी हुई है। तो सप्लाई रिडक्शन, डिमांड रिडक्शन एंड देन हार्म रिडक्शन का जो मैंने प्रोसेस बताया, जिसमें सोसाइटी के इन्वॉल्वमेंट के बिना आप जितना भी रिहेबिलिटेशन प्रोसेस आप चलाना चाहें आप नहीं चला सकते।
नवनीत जी।
थैंक यू सो मच सर। दोस्तों, आप हमारे साथ ब्यूरोक्रेट्स इंडिया के इस BI डायलॉग सीरीज पे जुड़े हुए हैं। हमारे साथ आसाम के स्पेशल DGP लॉ एंड ऑर्डर श्री GP सिंह जी जुड़े हुए हैं, और वो आसाम की जो वॉर अगेंस्ट ड्रग की रणनीति नहीं है उसके बारे में चर्चा कर रहे हैं। थैंक यू सो मच राजीव जी फॉर दोज वेरी pointed and smart questions, I would say. My next question, sir, is there seems to be some locational issues as well when we talk of freeing Assam from the drug menace. It requires proper coordination with other states. Are you getting adequate support? I'm not at all trying to stoke an interstate controversy, but even today when we saw this morning seizure, I learned from news reports, was involving multiple states. Now, how is it happening, sir? Coordination between different state police organizations.
So, geographically, Assam is located between multiple states. As you are aware, this entire area till 5-6 decades back was one single state. From that single state, number of states have been carved out. And the borders are abutting the borders of Assam. Then Assam is geographically located in close proximity to Myanmar, to Bangladesh, to Bhutan, to China. So considering that, there is a geographical disadvantage, as you said, but I would say that it is also an advantage, because instead of one state, we have 7 states fighting this war. There may be minor issues here and there. Once in a while, you may have interstate issues, but on core issues, mostly all the states have been functioning well. In fact, the Honorable Union Home Minister was here on 22nd, 23rd of last month. And there was a session especially dedicated to control of drugs in Northeast, where the Narcotics Control Bureau officers were also there. Then all the police heads were there. And discussion was generally on how to go into the backward and forward linkages of the drug trade. Where has it originated? What are the routes that are being taken? And where does it reach? So if we can take action on the entire chain from origin to source, even if we can't go to Myanmar, if we can go right up to More and Champhai and work on the entire chain, then also I think we would have made major success. I really do not feel that geography is a disadvantage in this. All the states are working together. There are minor hiccups here and there at times because of interests being hurt to some extent. It does take place, but more or less things are okay.
We have also had, sir, feedback from the ground about the yearning of the new Assam. I have had some opportunity to travel to Assam, and when I spoke to youth as a journalist, I realized that they are seeing there is a new enthusiasm. There is a new passion to take Assam to a new level. I'm reminded of a policy that Punjab government, if I remember well, introduced of driving the youth to the playground. I find that Assam's youth are already on the playground. Can you share, and police is very well respected there. Is there a sense of community participation? You had referred to this earlier, but I want you to elaborate a little more in terms of how are police engaging with the community, and especially the youth, in making them a partner in progress, so to say, and trying to wean them away from this process, because it's a tough task. You have to deal at multiple levels. Like you said, supply reduction, demand reduction, harm reduction. And it is also a multi-pronged attempt by the government and its agencies. I would like to know your thoughts on that aspect, sir.
Navneet, as far as weaning the youth away from drugs is concerned, it cannot be a single agency approach. It has to be a whole of government approach. I think that if all the agencies of government work together, then this is achievable in a better manner. So we have something called Team Assam approach, where all departments, all the stakeholders are brought together under one roof, and then they do brainstorming as to what we should do. And as I had told you earlier, Honorable Chief Minister is himself a hands-on kind of a man, and he has been driving all of us together on this. So education department has been pumping in resources, social welfare department has been pumping in resources, sports has been pumping in resources. And now with the success that Assam has seen because of Lavlina Borgohain in the Olympics, we have a better chance of weaning away youth from such events and bringing them into the arena of sports. So I see a bright future for Assam. And when I interact with the youth, when I interact with the parents, I find that there is a strong yearning, strong desire not to fall in this trap. And for those who have already fallen in trap, to come out of it with the kind of Team Assam intervention, I think that we are on the right track.
We have seen in a lot of Bollywood and multiple Hollywood films which have glamorized the drug mafia, and it is rightly said and perceived that they are very, very powerful. And it must be a strong battle. How true is that? You have said that it is certainly not impossible, but and there are multiple intricate interests which are converging to have this industry flourish. That poses a big challenge, I reckon, for people like you at the helm of affairs. Your thoughts, sir?
It's interesting. I would restrict myself to what's happening in Northeast. There is a convergence of interest of the drug syndicates, then the terrorist groups, and people who are involved in wildlife smuggling, arms smuggling, and things like that. So this convergence makes it even more difficult. We had a seizure, I think about 5 days back, where 2 kgs of heroin was seized at border of Nagaland and Assam. And there the police party reported to us after the seizure that following the vehicle in which the drug was seized was a vehicle with 3 to 4 armed cadres who were suspected to belong to one of the factions of NSCN. And they all had automatic rifles, because there was a stage where our guys were almost ready to fire on them. But then they retreated when they saw that there's a strong police presence there. So that gives an indication of the kind of firepower that they have, the kind of backing that they have. But there's a very, very positive thing in Assam. That's that Assam has faced terrorism since 80s. So Assam police has become a very, very strong police force. Fear is not there. They have faced bullets almost every alternate day, 20-25 years, for 25-30 years. So they are not afraid of anything. And that lack of fear drives Assam police in this battle fully. And I don't think that there is any retreat in this. We just have to go ahead and finish this. It may take time. It may take a few years, but I think that we will not stop till we dismantle these cartels and syndicates.
Rajiv ji, sir may already have answered your next question, so you can go to the next question, please, after that.
सर एक जैसा कि आपने असम पुलिस के बारे में बताया और जब हमने आईपीएस ऑफिसर्स डिफरेंट स्टेट्स के बारे में भी बात की, तो एक जब हम इस प्रकार के प्रॉब्लम्स चैलेंजेस को हैंडल करने की, जैसे कि पहले कोविड-19 के कंटेक्स्ट में हम लोगों ने काफी बातचीत की सीनियर पुलिस ऑफिसर से, किस प्रकार से उन्होंने सिचुएशन को हैंडल किया, दो दे वर नॉट ट्रेन्ड टू डील विद सच एन अनप्रेसिडेंटेड सिचुएशन. So sir, over the years, अपने country में how policing has evolved? Do you think the gap between cops and people has bridged significantly in our country, sir?
That's a very interesting question, and I have an answer which many times people disagree, but जो आप गैप की बात कर रहे हैं पुलिस और पब्लिक के बीच में, इसके विषय में मेरे अपने थॉट्स हैं। हो सकता है कि आप भी उससे डिसएग्री करें और बहुत से पुलिस ऑफिसर्स और सोसाइटी में बहुत से लोग उनसे डिसएग्री करें। देखिए, पुलिस का प्राइमरी काम मेंटेनेंस ऑफ लॉ एंड ऑर्डर एंड प्रिवेंशन एंड डिटेक्शन ऑफ क्राइम है। और जैसे सिचुएशन आती है, जैसे आपने कोविड का बताया, या कहीं फ्लड्स आ गए, कहीं ड्राउट हो गया, कहीं अर्थक्वेक हो गया, तो उसमें जो भी पुलिस का रोल है वो है। अगर पुलिस पूरे भारतवर्ष में अगर ये काम अच्छी तरह से कर ले, क्राइम का डिटेक्शन, क्राइम का प्रिवेंशन और लॉ एंड ऑर्डर भली भांति अगर कंट्रोल करके रखती है पुलिस, तब पुलिस को किसी भी अलहदा स्कीम की आवश्यकता नहीं है पब्लिक से अच्छा रिलेशन बनाने में। पब्लिक का एक्सपेक्टेशन लार्जली पुलिस से यही है कि पुलिस एक शांतिपूर्ण परिवेश बना के दे, पुलिस जो भी क्राइम होता है, होने वाला है, उसको या तो प्रिवेंट करे और हो जाए तो उसको डिटेक्ट करे। आप स्वयं एक नागरिक के हिसाब से आपका भी पुलिस से यही एक्सपेक्टेशन होगा।
वेरी ट्रू सर, टोटली।
मेरा भी जब मैं अपने स्टेट के बाहर, जहां मैं पोस्टेड हूँ, वहां से बाहर जाता हूँ, तो मेरा भी वहां पुलिस से यही एक्सपेक्टेशन होता है। इससे ज्यादा हमारा पुलिस से एक्सपेक्टेशन नहीं है। हर बाकी काम के लिए, चाहे आप उसे स्पोर्ट्स बोलिए, चाहे फॉरेस्ट्री, एफॉरेस्टेशन बोलिए, चाहे कुछ भी बोलिए, उसके लिए सरकार के अलग अलग विंग्स हैं, अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट्स हैं। वो अगर अपना काम भली भांति कर रहे हैं तो पुलिस को उन डिपार्टमेंट्स के काम में जाने की कोई आवश्यकता नहीं है। पुलिस का जो प्राइमरी काम है, उस प्राइमरी काम को अगर पुलिस अच्छी प्रकार से करे, तो मुझे नहीं लगता कि पुलिस और पब्लिक के बीच में किसी भी गैप की कोई स्कोप है। Having said so, I feel that during the last few years, with the emergence of social media platforms, electronic media, police has really been able to reach the public. The outreach of police has improved tremendously. The way police officers, even at the police station level, have been interacting with public, and the public has been reacting and reaching out to police, it is unbelievable. However, there is a long distance yet to be traveled. There would never be a situation where you would have a police which the public can say that this is 100% effective, because whenever police reaches a milestone, the criminals and people who are trying to create disorder in the society would travel further ahead. So police will have to again travel that much distance to reach there, to make up with that. So I feel that in India, police is well placed, but yes, there's a lot to be done, especially in terms of capacity building, especially in terms of reaching out to the people, using the entire spectrum of social media platforms, electronic media that is available. But we are on the right track, and with the kind of leadership in the police that is emerging, when I see the young officers right at the level of sub-inspectors to the IPS officers, I have faith that this leadership is really going to take police a long distance.
That's सर बिग थिंग। मुझे लगता है कि सर ये जो आपने बात कही, कई पहले भी सीनियर IPS ऑफिसर से जब हम लोग इंटरव्यू किए हैं, उन्होंने इस प्रकार की भी आशा व्यक्त किया। सर थोड़ा सा समय रहा है जिससे पहले कि इंटरव्यू कंक्लूड हो, सर आपने NIA के साथ भी काम किया और कुछ काफी क्रिटिकल केसेस के इन्वेस्टिगेशन को आपने सुपरवाइज भी किया, उसको इन्वेस्टिगेट किया। सर हाउ मच वी हैव इम्प्रूव्ड इन क्रिटिकल एरियाज ऑफ इन्वेस्टिगेशन? ऐसे कहा जाता है क्या कि इस प्रकार के केसेस में इन्वेस्टिगेशन के मामले में जो एक इजराइल का लेवल है, यूनाइटेड स्टेट्स का, यानी कि वेस्टर्न कंट्रीज का जो लेवल है, क्या हम उस लेवल पर सर पहुंच चुके हैं, या हम यूं कहें कि हम उस लेवल की तरफ धीरे धीरे बढ़ रहे हैं?
इसमें मेरा विचार ये है कि जो स्पेसिफिक केसेस हैं, या जैसे स्पेशलाइज्ड एजेंसीज हैं, जैसे CBI है, NIA है, या अन्य राज्यों की जो टास्क फोर्सेस हैं या स्पेशल ब्यूरोज हैं, वो बहुत अच्छा काम कर रही हैं। उसका कारण ये है कि उनके पास कम केस आते हैं, मैन पावर है, और उस मैन पावर को, रिसोर्सेज को लगाकर वो उन केसेस को भली भांति इन्वेस्टिगेट कर पाते हैं। जैसे NIA का अगर मुझे ठीक याद पड़ता है तो लगभग कन्विक्शन रेट इस समय 90% है, जबकि साधारणतः स्टेट पुलिस का कहीं 40%, कहीं 50%, कहीं 60%, कहीं कहीं और भी कम है। इसका कारण सिर्फ ये नहीं कि पुलिस इनएफिशिएंट है या पुलिस सीखना नहीं चाहती, इसका कारण न्यूमेरिकल है, न्यूमेरिकल भी है। इतने केस हैं कि नॉर्मल कोर्स में जो एग्जिस्टिंग पुलिस फोर्सेस हैं, जो कि नॉर्मल केसेस को इन्वेस्टिगेट करती हैं, उनके पास एक एक इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर के पास 200, 250, 300 केस एक समय पर है। नॉर्मली एक इन्वेस्टिगेटिंग ऑफिसर एक महीने में बहुत कोशिश करे, अच्छे से काम करे, तब भी 3 से ज्यादा केसेस को वो इन्वेस्टिगेट कर फाइनल रिपोर्ट सबमिट नहीं कर सकता। लेकिन अगर उसके पास 200, 250, 300, 400 केस होंगे तो वो कैसे जस्टिस करेगा, कैसे हर केस में वो स्पेशलाइज काम कर पाएगा। इससे संबंधित हमारा एक इशू है फॉरेंसिक लेबोरेटरीज का एंड एंटायर स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ क्रिमिनल जस्टिस सिस्टम। वी नीड रिफॉर्म्स, we need to work on it, but still I feel that considering that we have about 1.3 plus billion people in the country and a very limited police force, especially the police force which is involved in the investigation of cases, the guys are doing a good job.
Over to Navneet ji. Now please take it to this conversation to its logical conclusion. Navneet ji.
Thank you, sir. You have always been known to speak from your heart and with a blend of logic and reason. And I was about to ask about this reform in police, but you have already answered that. One of the things that at Bureaucrats India we have been trying to do is to demystify the persona, the heart and soul behind the Vardi. As I know the GP Singh, he's a soft-hearted, mild-mannered, one of the most soft-spoken IPS officers I have personally known. Before I come to that, sir, how do you look back when you look back at your career? What are the highs and lows that you would like to share with us? Before I come to the persona bit, the other GP Singh that my audience would want to know, sir.
Well, highs have been the support of public, people of Assam generally having faith in you, trust in you, believing in you. That has been a high. The low has been that there are times when you know that you have tried your best, but still you have failed. And the tragedies do not leave your mind. I remember many such incidents where we have failed. Many lives have been lost because we could not neutralize a terror group. We could not, perhaps at times, use the kind of methodology that we would have used to get the information, elicit the information, because of lawful compulsions, legal compulsions, and that resulted in loss of lives. But then you have to live with it, perhaps. You have to bear the thought in your mind that these lives were lost. Even then, even despite the fact that you tried you would try harder, you would try better means at stopping such losses in future. But then you have to trudge along and you have to complete the journey.
According to us, one of the highs certainly has been, and I remember having read your interview in the Times of India, sir, and about the way you brought a turnaround in the ground situation during the peak of CEA unrest in Assam. Congratulations to that. Now, the other side of GP Singh, what I have personally known, the man from UP, Ajamgarh, sir, if I'm right? Aligarh, soft-spoken with so much elegance and style, person next door. How has it been, sir? I mean, I know also that you're a doting father and a proud father now of a daughter, very young daughter who cleared the civil services and in the Indian Revenue Service now. Tell us something about your personal life, sir, that you'd want us to know more on.
Well, I think the seeds for being in the service were sown by my parents. I lost both of them during the last 15 years. My father, I lost him to cancer in 2003, lost my mother in 2017. They were the people who showed me the way to reach where I reached civil services. But the journey of these 30 years, where I've is almost completely because of full support from my wife. I still remember for weeks together, I used to roam around in jungles of Assam in pursuit of alpha, which was at its peak in 90s, and she would never complain. 3 to 4 nights in a week, I was out on operations. I would leave her sitting on the doorstep. We had 3 steps to the main door of the house when I was SDPO and then additional SP. I would leave her there, and morning, if I come back at 5:30, 6 in the morning, I would still find her sitting there. She was also in the civil services, but because I was not available for my daughters, she gave up the job, and she concentrated on the studies of the daughters. I have 2 daughters. The elder one, as you just mentioned, made it to Indian Revenue Service last year. She is taking the exam again. Her interview is slotted for September. Younger one has just completed a graduation from Hindu College in Sociology Honors. Both very, very bright kids, and more intelligent, more knowledgeable than me, doting daughters. And whatever I am today is largely because of the sacrifices that my wife has made, and also the love and affection that my daughters have given to me.
Which have been some other influence in terms of, sir, professional competence? I have heard great stories about your competence. You're a sharp officer, one of the very bright IPS officers. What are some of the professional influences that have shaped you as to what you are, sir, today?
Do we have a couple of minutes? Then yes, I can explain to you.
Okay. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So professionally, when I look at my career, one of the person who shaped my career initially was Mr. P.V. Sumanta, 67 batch officer here. When I joined, he was IG operations. He was one of the men who showed me a lot how to go about the entire task of policing. Subsequently, I met another very, very, I would say, sharp officer, Mr. A.K. Singh. He was Gujarat cadre. He was my boss in SPG for 5 years. And then he retired as DG NSD, one of the finest professional. It would take long time to tell the stories that they had, but I would just narrate the names. Then another one was Mr. B.V. Vanchu, who was director SPG. Then Mr. N. Ramachandran. Then DG NIA, Mr. Sharad Kumar. These are the officers whom I found it was really a pleasure and a privilege to work with. Professionally very sound, amazing human beings. And especially Mr. Sumant, he held my hands in the initial days when I joined the cadre as SDPO, then additional SP, then SP. And another thing that I think professionally was, because I was in SPG, I was in charge of CPT for 4.5 years with 2 of the most illustrious prime ministers that this country has seen, Mr. Vajpayee and Dr. Manmohan Singh. I got to see them at very, very close quarters for 4.5 years, 2.5 years with Dr. Manmohan Singh, 2 years with Mr. Vajpayee. Learned a lot from them, both as administrators, then as human beings. Even at the pinnacle of power is Prime Minister in our country. And the kind of human beings that they were, both of them, amazing. And they left a lot for us to learn. In the state, amongst political leaders, Mr. Hiteshwar Saikia, when I joined, he was the Chief Minister. He was a tough taskmaster. And the present Chief Minister, I've seen him for 20 years. I've never seen a politician who works harder than him and who's so sharp and who has knowledge about the entire state machinery, everything. So these are the people from whom you learn a lot. And I think that these are the people who have guided me. And then I also think that a lot of police work I learned from, there was a sub-inspector, Uttam Roy, when I was a probationer. Then there was a SDPO, Jogesh Burman. Then there was an additional SP who later became SP and retired, Apurv Jeevan Barua. Then there was SP Mr. Khandkar. So these are the people who were from the junior ranks when we were just, I would say, cubs in the system. They held our hands, taught us the way, taught us the meandering ways of police. It's a very, very complicated system. So while some people would push you up, there would be 1,000 people who would try to pull you down. So these are all people who have really helped me quite a lot, and I would always remember them. And one thing that I feel that in this journey of 30 years, as you mentioned, I have been through very, very difficult times in Assam, in other parts of Northeast, Kashmir. The dedication of the junior staff who provide protection to us in these difficult areas, it's amazing. They are the guys who have ensured that we are alive, we are talking today. That n number of times when we almost went to death, and then we came out of it. There was a assistant commandant of CRPF, SK Singh, who really almost saved me on an occasion. Then there's a Havildar of police, Nath. He saved me at least on 2 occasions from certain death. So these are the people who show that there are people who would always stand by you, come what may, as a dedicated policeman, and also because they feel that you are part of the family. I have very, very fond memories of 30 years.
Great, glorious journey, sir. And please tell your daughter I share the same college. I was also in Hindu college. I did my eco honors. Then I went to JNU, and there I joined sociology. So wonderful to know that. Wonderful to know all the lovely people that have worked with you, have been around you, and the great influences they have had on you, including current Chief Minister, Honorable Dr. Himanta Biswa Sarma. The lovely evening is coming to an end. At the back, we can see, and I see such clean sky in Guwahati that I rarely see anywhere else. I know it is not very, very clean, but still, as compared to Delhi or Noida, it is very, very clean. Vigya, I understand there are some questions from our friends who are listening to us, watching us. Would you like to take some of the questions and pose it to sir to answer?
Sure, sir. So the first question is, sir, same question has been asked by 2 people, Vibhuti and Manvendraji. So the question is, with Taliban taking over Afghanistan and given they rely heavily on drugs money to maintain control over their cadres, will this new development pose a new challenge in ending the drugs menace in India?
Well, it would be slightly improper on my part to comment on that theater, because Taliban is associated with drug trafficking from the Golden Crescent. What we were discussing, or what Assam is impacted by, is the Golden Triangle. That is, as I said, it is Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand, whereas Golden Crescent is Afghanistan, Pakistan, and Iran. There is a lot of drug trafficking from there. But yes, I feel that with Taliban getting not only the drugs money, but also access to a whole lot of weaponry left behind by the United States. It is going to be a challenge, but I have a very strong feeling that this time we are seeing a slightly different Taliban. And all Indians of all hues and colors, we should have a strong faith in our system, our security forces, whether it's army or the state police or the intelligence agencies. And I'm sure that together we should be able to face that challenge very, very strongly.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question is, only the drug addiction of opium could break Chinese civilization. Do you think that China has a big rope in the drug cartel?
Well, if you look at the entire process of the drugs business from the Golden Triangle, it actually originated from China. And it was only when CCP came to power in China that the drug trade shifted from China to South, that is to Myanmar, Laos, and Thailand. But still some of the Chinese families are controlling the drug trade. It's a drug trade worth almost $60–70 billion annually. And China is a major stakeholder. Chinese people are major stakeholder in it. And internationally, this drug trade has a lot of Chinese influence. So that's about it.
Thank you, sir. Sir, एक क्वेश्चन है कि जिस तरीके से अब आसाम पुलिस काम कर रही है, जिस तरीके से लोगों को जानने को मिल रहा है कि इतना ड्रग्स पे जो काम हो रहा है आसाम पुलिस के द्वारा, तो आसाम की जनता में उसकी क्या प्रतिक्रिया देखने को मिलती है? आप लोग कैसे उस चेंज को कैसे देख पा रहे हैं, वो एक बार प्लीज बताइए।
आसाम की जनता बहुत खुश है और उनका मानना ये है कि इसको ड्रग ट्रेड को कम्प्लीटली खत्म करना है, बिकॉज अल्टीमेटली ड्रग्स का जो भी नुकसान है, जो लोकल कंजम्पशन का नुकसान है, वो लोकल लोगों को हो रहा है, क्योंकि यहीं के जो युवा हैं वो ड्रग्स के चक्कर में पड़ते हैं। जब ड्रग एडिक्शन बढ़ जाता है और पैसा नहीं मिलता तो क्राइम करते हैं, फैमिलीज के ऊपर बहुत प्रेशर रहता है, रिहैब बहुत एक्सपेंसिव है। इसलिए जनता में बहुत स्ट्रॉन्ग डिमांड है कि इस एक्शन को कंटिन्यू किया जाए। मेजर प्लेयर्स हैं, उनको सबको बुक किया जाए।
थैंक यू सो मच सर।
एक हमारे साथी सर, उन्होंने व्हाट्सएप पे मुझे ये प्रश्न भेजा कि अगले पहला 100 दिन वाज एक्सट्रीमली रिमार्केबल, अगले 100 दिन का क्या प्लान है?
Repetition of first 100 days. It's very simple. We don't have much doubt about it.
Right. Thank you very much, sir. One last word about anything that you would want to say, especially to the young officers. Many of them look up to you. What is your mantra of success to them? Many young IPS officers who are joining the force.
I feel that they should just have a very, very small thing, that whatever पुलिस का जो बेसिक काम है, जो मैंने पहले भी बोला था, प्रिवेंशन, डिटेक्शन ऑफ क्राइम, मेंटेनेंस ऑफ लॉ एंड ऑर्डर, इसमें बहुत ज्यादा हमको और किसी चीज में, डांस, ड्रामा, आउटरीच में नहीं पड़ना है। इसको अगर हम सीरियसली कर देते हैं तो हमारा पुलिस का काम हो जाएगा। ऑलवेज अलर्ट, ऑलवेज अवेलेबल, ऑलवेज बी देयर फॉर द पीपल। इफ यू डू दीज few things, you would be very, very well placed as a police officer in the entire life.
I can almost sense what you are hinting at, because this social media is really spoiling. We see, I mean, with all due regards, but many of the officers are spending a lot of time culling out fascinating photographs and videos and pushing them. Like you said, sir, the success or the secret of success lies in being simple and straightforward. Thank you so much, sir, for this wonderful time that you spared for us. I'm sure we shall have another opportunity to come back to you to learn more about various other facets of your career, policing and investigations. We are extremely grateful to the audience, friends from across the country who joined us in this Bureaucrats India dialogue. Please stay tuned to our website, www.bureaucratsindia.in, for a glimpse of the world of good governance and positivity. Certainly not to miss out my gratitude to my teammates, Vigya Dwivedi, Pooja Rai, Sweta Bharti, Naina Jha, and of course, my very dear friend Rajiv and the editor of Bureaucrats India for supporting this session. We'll return soon with a new topic and a new guest. And yes, don't lower your guards as COVID-19 is down but not out. Wish you all a great weekend. Namaskar, Jai Hind, and thank you once again, Sri GP Singh, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.